Hello, you're welcome to Co-Redemptrix TV YouTube channel. Today our lecture is going to be focused on a noble saint of God, one of the highest in heaven, the foster father of Jesus Christ, the head of the Holy Family, and the spouse of Our Lady, and that is Saint Joseph. There is so much resemblance between the efficacy of his intercession and the help that Joseph of old rendered to the children of Israel in Egypt during the period of universal famine, the period of universal hunger that ravaged the whole world. Because of the privileged position that Joseph had with Pharaoh, he was able to obtain much of food for his brothers and for those in need, for many people who came from all over the world. In the same way, the Blessed Mother have revealed that Saint Joseph's prayers is most efficacious in the presence of the Eternal Father. Indeed, as the just man, we see in Matthew chapter 1 verse 19, he's described as a just man, that Joseph, being a just man, desired to put her away privately. Not many people have the privilege of being described in the scripture as a just man. He represents the Eternal Father within the Holy Family. But he is somebody I prefer to call the forgotten saint, because despite his privileges, he comes next to Our Lady. Our Lady's own comes after the Blessed Trinity. Despite his privileges, he is often not known. He is called the forgotten saint, as many people prefer to have more devotions to many saints of lesser rank than him. He has been forgotten by many. Yet Isidore mentioned many centuries ago, he prophesied that the church will triumph when the faithful recognize the sanctity of Saint Joseph. And according to Blessed Catherine Emmerich, his body is buried somewhere around the valley of Josaphat. And that the day the church will discover this, it will be a day of great triumph and double celebration for the universal church. He is the one who many authors refer to as the Virgin Father of Jesus Christ. Like Joseph of Egypt, he was persecuted by his brothers, and he never had any sort of anger or intention for revenge towards any of them. He practiced silence and humility to a heroic degree, so that many people who are called to perfection, called to live a holy life, are called to imitate Saint Joseph. The Eternal Father communicated with him throughout the period of the incarnation. He was the one who was told, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt. So he's a protector in tribulation. He was the one who was also told in Egypt that those who seek the life of the child have died. Herod, the persecutor. So you are now to take the child and his mother back to Israel. A very glorious saint. Many of the saints and mystics have told us that devotion to Saint Joseph is a special gift from the Eternal Father. It's not everybody who can have this devotion in a regular and steady manner. Some people manage to have it just a few times in a year, and they forget or they lose the grace. But for those who regularly maintain this, Saint Teresa of Avila often mentioned that he helped her in a special way when her honor was at stake. Her honor was at stake. When you hear a woman talk of her honor being at stake, you should understand what I mean. He is therefore known as the protector of virgins, those who seek to keep their purity, their chastity intact, receive efficacious help from him. The late Mother Teresa of Calcutta was once asked by a group of religious in America. They were asked to, the religious, their rent had expired and they were asked to vacate the premises. They needed some serious amount of money to purchase a new property. They didn't have it. And Mother Teresa simply said, write your petition on a piece of paper, direct it to St. Joseph, fold it and put in the hands of his statue. With the permission of their superior, they did this, and by the next day, a man who was driving by brought them a check. It contained the exact amount needed to purchase this statue, this property, so that the religious sisters would not remain homeless. They quickly recognized this as a special help from the foster father of the Redeemer. In virtue of these special privileges, the intercession of St. Joseph is most powerful, as Our Lady explained to Venerable Mary of Agreda. He said, first, for attaining the virtue of purity and overcoming the sensual inclinations of the flesh. I just mentioned that he is known as the protector of virgins. He who was able to become the foster father without biologically being involved has a special grace and power over the concupiscence of the flesh, over the sins of impurity. Secondly, for procuring powerful help to escape sin and return to the friendship of God. I just mentioned that he's a special friend of the Eternal Father, and within the Holy Family he represents God the Father. In some of the apparitions that have happened in the US, where Jesus and Mary have been speaking, and St. Joseph have been speaking, or we are speaking to a renowned Catholic mystic, St. Joseph often identifies himself as coming to speak on behalf of the Eternal Father. He even introduced a 3 Our Father devotion daily in order to thank God the Father for his glory, for his justice and mercy. Third, for increasing the love and devotion to Most Holy Mary. If you wish to increase in love and devotion to the Mother of God, one of the best ways to do this is by having a special devotion to St. Joseph. His most chaste heart was designed in a special way to be the spouse of the Blessed Mother, to love her most chastely. And therefore, devotion to his most chaste heart, which we often do especially on the first Wednesday of each month, enables one to increase in devotion to this noble patriarch. Just like love and devotion to Jesus Christ enables us to love the Father, and those who wish to love Jesus Christ immensely must have great devotion to the Blessed Mother. So also, if we wish to love Our Lady much, we need to have special devotion to St. Joseph. Otherwise, I perceive that something will be incomplete in all our great love for Our Lady without having any relationship with his spouse. Fourth, for securing the grace of a happy death and protection against the demons at the hour of death. Why is this? St. Joseph had the happiest death anybody can have. He died in the arms of Jesus and Mary. No death can be better and sweeter than that. Even our Lord's own was a most bitter death, while he shed his blood in great pains on the cross. Out of Our Lady was after many years of her sorrows, recalling the death of her son. But that of St. Joseph was a very joyful death. It is a death everybody will pray and wish to have, to die in the arms of Jesus and Mary. Because of this, he is invoked as the patron of departing souls. And he has that special grace not only to obtain a happy death for those who ask, but special protection against the demons who launch a very powerful attack against devout souls at the hour of death. Fifthly, for inspiring the demons with terror at the mere mention of his name by his clients. St. Joseph, among some of his invocations in the litany of St. Joseph, is invoked as terror of demons. Terror of demons. You know, the demons, the evil one planned against him, the Antichrist, first attack was to plan for the death of the infant Jesus. And that resulted in Herod organizing the massacre of the innocent children, hoping to kill the infant Jesus in the process. But through the efficacious protection that St. Joseph gave to the divine infant and his holy mother, the Herod did not succeed. So St. Joseph was told, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt. And so he therefore becomes a special terror against the demons. We shall look at this in greater detail very soon. And then sixth, for gaining the health of body and soul, health of body and assistance of all kinds of difficulties. For gaining health of body and assistance in all kinds of difficulties. Hardship, we are talking about hardship here. Our country is going through a lot of hardship. People are hungry, many are starving. I told you that St. Joseph fulfills what the Old Testament Joseph was. The Old Testament Joseph was a source of succor, a source of nourishment in the midst of universal hunger. He was the one who was shown the dreams about the coming universal hunger. And he narrated it, Pharaoh was shown, but Joseph interpreted. And then he was made the chief prince, after Pharaoh, to look after the treasury, the food granary of Pharaoh, which they filled with sacks of grains in preparation for the hunger that was about to come. That which Joseph of old did is what is perfected in St. Joseph in the New Testament. Several of the popes in old times will always say, in great need, go to Joseph. And that was what Pharaoh was saying in the Old Testament. When hunger came across Egypt and the whole world, and people besought Pharaoh for food, he would direct them, go to Joseph. So in this particular sixth promise, he said, for gaining health of body and assistance in all kinds of difficulties. This assistance extends even to the search for a home, for owning homes and properties, which again we shall explain much later. We've already explained how the group of religious that Mother Teresa of Calcutta directed, who were losing their home, and they were told to put their petitions, written petitions, in the hands of a statue of St. Joseph, and how a strange man came the next day and wrote a check exactly for the amount they needed to purchase a new property. The seventh grace is for securing issue of children in families. Many people are not aware that St. Joseph is especially efficacious for those seeking the fruit of the womb. That he who got a son without biologically fathering him merited to obtain for those who biologically father children the fruit of the womb through his intercession. There are many other favors that God confers upon those who properly and with good disposition seek the intercession of the spouse of Our Lady, and that is St. Joseph. The Blessed Mother had some word to say to Mary of Agreda on this. It says that on the last day, when all men shall be judged, the damned will bitterly bewail their sins. We prevented them from appreciating this powerful means of their salvation and availing themselves as they easily could have of his intercession to gain the friendship of the just judge. So it's actually our sins that make us to view him as a forgotten saint, to actually forget him. The whole human race has much undervalued the privileges and prerogatives conceded to my blessed spouse, and they know not what his intercession with God is able to do. I assure thee, my dearest, that he is one of the greatly favored great personages in the divine presence, and has immense power to stay the arms of divine vengeance. This is another point that needs to be explained well. Saint Joseph is very powerful when it comes to remission of punishment due to sin. I therefore wish you to be very thankful for the divine condensation for versating thee so much light and knowledge regarding this mystery, and also for the favor which I am doing for thee. Thou should induce many to venerate him, promote devotion to him, and see that thy own religious distinguish themselves in their devotion to him. So we can see what heaven is saying concerning the great Saint Joseph. We did say he's the terror of demons, and that the devil plotted against Saint Joseph by seeking to destroy his son Jesus through the massacre of the holy innocents. Saint Joseph merited special power over the demons through the protection he gave to mother and son by taking them to Egypt for safety under his protection. Secondly, through his purity, Saint Joseph's chastity was great. Think of how great must be the chastity of the man called to be the husband of God's Virgin Mother. As Our Lady of Fatima said, more souls go to hell through the sins of impurity than any other sin. Since the devil captures most souls through the sins of impurity or sexual sins, it follows that a great amount of chastity is required to conquer the king of darkness. A greater form or higher form of chastity, such as continence in marriage and even perpetual virginity, is required to perpetually subdue and terrorize this infernal enemy. The degree of his holiness is unimaginable, yet measurable by the degree to which demons fear him. According to exorcists, those who drive out demons, they say that after the Virgin Mary, the devil fears Saint Joseph more than any other saints. Hence, in his litany, he is referred to as terror of demons. Monsignor Rossetti, the official exorcist of the Archdiocese of Washington, said that people sometimes think of Saint Joseph as a quiet, kindly old man, but not very effective. But that this is not really correct. He has been, Monsignor Rossetti has been an exorcist for the Archdiocese of Washington for more than 12 years, and is a licensed psychologist, a professor at the Catholic University of America. He says God himself picked Saint Joseph to defend his son and his mother, and that they were targets of great demonic assault as well as human assault, especially those of Herod. Next to Our Lady is the greatest of saints in defending us against Satan. And so we regularly invoke him, according to him, in our exorcism sessions with great benefit. He went further to say that I believe it is part of God's plan to assist us in these dark times. Saint Joseph will powerfully shepherd us alongside the Virgin Mary to safety. He is the model of human fatherhood. I call on Saint Joseph very much during exorcisms, says another priest, Monsignor SF, a 92-year-old priest and exorcist in Scranton, Pennsylvania. One of the things that I have found in talking with people is that the biggest wound is the father wound. All of us are being called to look at St. Joseph not only as a terror of demons, but as a father figure. We need an earthly father figure who will show us again what a real dad is like. He said that God looked for someone to be like him. It was St. Joseph whom he placed at the head of the Holy Family. And so Jesus called him Abba, Father. For Father Calloway, the wonders of a spiritual father with the register, which he wrote, he said, with families under attack, marriages falling apart, people falling away from God, and so much anxiety and fear, we really need St. Joseph's protections. Demons fear him for two primary reasons. When St. Joseph makes a petition to Jesus, it's a paternal petition, a petition from a father. He said, no one else can do that. The devil knows this, and it terrifies him. God doesn't obey angels, but Our Lady and St. Joseph are his mom and dad. The devil doesn't want us to tap into that. The purity of St. Joseph is another reason the devil fears him. Father Calloway explained that the lily he's always shown holding is a spiritual lance or sword. He has the most chaste heart. His virtue is only outdone by that of Our Lady, and is a terror to the devil. According to him, men and women who are impure, who do not live in a state of chastity, have no power. They have no spiritual power. If men resemble St. Joseph, the kingdom of Satan will have been destroyed, and that terrifies the devil. The purity of St. Joseph is a weapon against the filth and perversion of the devil. One of the famous apparitions that are ongoing right now in a place known as Itapiranga in Brazil is the apparition of St. Joseph. In that particular apparition, he calls for the revival of a certain old devotion, the First Wednesday devotion. And he talks about purity, especially for men. Yes, purity for everybody, but especially for men. Now, men can still be chaste and pure. What do you do on that First Wednesday? You say the joyful mysteries of the Rosary while meditating on his presence in the Holy Family. Then the devotion of the 7 joys and sorrows of St. Joseph. And then you receive Holy Communion, bearing in mind the first time this great patriarch received the infant Jesus when he was born. Now, there is a great miracle that occurred in the 1800s. The effect of that miracle is still existing today in New Mexico. A certain group of religious bought a property, and it was a school. They needed to build a chapel inside the school. And work for the chapel was done, but there was a problem in the design. By the time they completed the choir, the choristers upstairs, after building, they found out that there was no link, no ladder with which to climb up to where the choir was supposed to be staying upstairs. So they called for help, called for very experienced carpenters to come and design. All the people who came said, with the way the church had been structured, there was no space to build a stair. So these religious sisters decided to have a novena, calling on St. Joseph. His profession was carpentry. After doing this novena, one day an old man came, bearded just the way we see him drawn in pictures. He came with a donkey. This was in 1873. And with some ancient tools, the T-square and tool, the saw, a hammer, and so on. And he told his sisters that he will do it. And though there's no space enough for the staircase to be made, that all he needed is privacy, that they should just leave the chapel. They left the chapel and they started work. Each morning when they come there to pray, he respects their privacy by giving them time for their prayers, and after that he will continue his work. He was able to build a spiral staircase through which the people could climb to the choir loft. Now, it is not the just building a staircase that is the issue. It is the impossibility of this construction. There are three reasons that make this event very unique. One is the engineering. Many architects, because that structure is still standing till this day, more than 100 years after the apparition, they say that it is impossible to have a spiral staircase without having a pole, an iron rod or pole at the center. Otherwise, that spiral staircase will collapse. It doesn't have any pillar or iron rod at the center. Yet it has survived till this day. Secondly, they found no nail. This picture is available online. You can go and look at it. Just Google St. Joseph builds a staircase and you will see this. There's nowhere in the building of this wooden spiral staircase that you will see a nail or a screw nail or something like a binding gum to put it together. That was the first miracle. The second one is that having constructed this engineering masterpiece, they needed him to ask him his fees. How much will he be paid? But instead of the fees, before they would say thank you, after looking at the stairs, they turned around, the man had disappeared. The sisters had to put up an advert, to even paid advert, who will be able to locate for us the man who constructed this staircase, who will pay the person so amount. They were not able to locate this man. Nobody knew where he come from. The only thing they knew about him is that he resembled the picture of St. Joseph. Secondly, that he walked in silence. This is one thing known about Joseph. He walked in silence, quietude, and in privacy. The third one, the type of wood used for this construction. The religious sisters went to the city's lumber where they sell wood and found out that the type of wood used for this construction, not only was it not available in the timber depot of that town, that type of wood was unknown also to many people of this century. These were the three mysterious features of this particular event. The man disappeared mysteriously just the way he came, and that structure have remained till this day. It's a tourist attraction. Sometimes people go to see it. If you Google it online, you'll be able to see it. Many people who lost their homes in the US due to one financial crisis or the other, a lot received great help when they asked him for help in getting a home, help in acquiring a property, help in being able to build your own. Just like he helped the Holy Family during their time of crisis to flee them into safety, gave them a home in Egypt, and then brought them back. He still helps families, but that is those who remember to call upon him. Remember, we said he is the forgotten saint. The church celebrates him on March 19th every year as the St. Joseph, the husband of Mary. On May 1st, he celebrated Workers' Day as St. Joseph the Worker. He was a worker and his profession was carpentry. We can see that these are special graces. One of the mystics was told that devotion to St. Joseph is a special gift that the Eternal Father gives those he loves and those he desires to grow up towards perfection. That staircase he built, when they counted the steps, the step of each of the wood you needed to place your leg upon to climb, it was exactly 33 in number. 33 is symbolical of the 33 years that Jesus Christ spent on earth before he was killed. It was 33 in number, indicating the life that his foster son spent on earth. In the same way too, the way that the old devotion of the 7 joys and 7 sorrows of St. Joseph came, some of the Franciscans who were traveling by boat, their boat capsized, and they managed to survive simply by holding on to a plank of wood. And then one of them called out to St. Joseph. He appeared. He said he saw an old man in brown dress, clothing, who helped them to safety. And when he was about to leave, they asked him, what is your name? Who are you? What's your name? He said, I am Joseph, and I want you to have devotion to my 7 joys and 7 sorrows. And that's how that devotion came. Again, you can Google it online and see. We have already been told, last week we did a program on the Great One and Part 1. We are going to do Part 2. It is coming. And part of what you will learn in that Part 2 is that St. Joseph have been given authority by the Eternal Father to gather the remnant church. Once there is this universal apostasy, where most Christians would have denied Jesus Christ, denies the existence of God, follow the religion of the Antichrist, which would have been a collaboration of all the religions of the world, telling people that God loves everybody. You don't have to call Jesus Christ. All you have to just do is believe that there's God, no matter which pagan religion and all. And people will love this ideology because there will be no rules. You live as you like. You fornicate. No commandments to tell you this thing is wrong or the other one is wrong. Only a small remnant will exist underground because many of them will be persecuted and killed. This small remnant, again, like the Holy Family, whom the first Antichrist Herod persecuted, this small remnant will be persecuted. But it is St. Joseph, as he did to the Holy Family, who will offer special protection to them. Jesus told Dr. Evans in the US that St. Joseph and the apostles and disciples of my Blessed Mother will gather to form the remnant church mentioned in Revelation 12, the remnant of her children who keep the testimony of Jesus Christ and God's commandments. So you see that it's not only very efficacious and useful for us now in hardships, in family life, in getting a home, in the difficulties that we face, in the issue of having children for those seeking fruit of the womb, and also for a happy and holy death, but it's also relevant in the final end time events that will culminate in the emergence of the beast, the final rebellion, the final battle, the 3 days of darkness, as many of you have had, and then eventually the glorious era of peace that will come after that. So as we celebrate this great and noble saint, do not allow him to be forgotten in your life. For many people, he's the forgotten saint. Do not allow him to be forgotten anymore. Have some devotions to him. Call upon him in difficulty. Call upon him in attacks, diabolical attacks of the devil. He is the terror of demons. Call upon him. Ask him to pray for you. God bless you.